Welcome back in, everybody. As always, I am here with you, your host, Michael Davis, with Ethne Davis. Welcome to Stranger Species, episode number 10. Hitting double digits.
Woo woo.
Whoa. It is it's hot here right now.
Yeah,
like
all
the
week.
studio is on fire.
Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be hot all week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We officially ended all of our summer trips today. Just rolled in from Boise.
Mm-hmm.
And we are done, which is great.
With long road trips.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been in the car so much lately.
We have been. But it was an amazing weekend.
It was a great weekend.
It was
Saw a lot of great old friends and
places and
food. And
yeah.
It was awesome.
It was great.
So back at it. Here we go.
Also on the way home, we had our kids listen to our podcast, which is their first, well, some of them it's their first time. And our 11-year-old loved it. Could not even stop, basically. Borrowed his sister's phone, put on the headphones.
Not wonderful because he loved it, but because, he put on the headphones and didn't talk again the rest of the trip.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then he couldn't stop talking about them. But we listened to one all together. That's all that our 6-year-old could handle. He's just a little too small. But it was about the one about funny jobs. Not funny. Kind of like yucky jobs.
Yucky jobs.
But to follow up, I don't know if you guys remember, for those that have listened to all of them, but the Gong Farmer, it's like a pool of poop and pee that, anyway, so I followed up with my uncle because my uncle had a poop pool at his farm, his dairy farm. And he said that...
we didn't know why he had it.
Yeah, I didn't know why he had it.
We brought that up on the episode.
So I'm following up because I asked him, and he said the EPA... It was like a requirement for him to, everything that drained from the milk barn had to go into this pool. And most of the time it would just evaporate. But it's a combination of pee and poo and water. So anyway, essentially, I mean, he never did anything with that pool. He just had to have it. But
you didn't use it in like the summertime?
For swimming?
Yeah.
No, it was like, do
That's
not
good.
go near it because you could drown in it. Like it was legit a pool.
Bad way to go.
Yeah. So anyway, I was just following up with that. It was part of his EPA regulations to prevent pollution.
So the Environmental Protection Agency forced him to have a pool full of urine and feces.
Yep.
Cool.
On
Makes sense to me.
On his property over in his kind of non-trafficked area, that kind of like the junkyard area.
Wonderful.
But it was really ugly and scary. So
Sounds
there you
terrifying.
go. Mm-hmm. Following up, doing my homework.
Thank you. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I have no idea.
That's the beauty of it. But guess what? I do know what we're going to talk about.
You always do.
I know. So in the news recently, you probably haven't seen this, but a lot of people probably have. There was recently a U.S. soldier who defected and crossed the border into North Korea. So Korea, the peninsula, is split into two countries, North Korea, South Korea. South Korea is a close ally of the United States. We have many, many troops stationed over there. North Korea is one of the last communistic strongholds in the world. We don't know a whole lot of what's going on in there because they don't let anyone in or anyone out. So in between these two countries, there is what's called the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone. Essentially a strip of land that's stacked to the nines, full of landmines, and it keeps both armies sit right on it, and it's just kind of this posturing thing. But it's the border between the two countries, but it's highly militarized. And so there's a U.S. soldier who was stationed there, left South Korea and went into North Korea.
Like through this demilitarized zone that there's landmines.
Right.
Did he make it?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't know. I really haven't followed the story at all.
Oh. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about?
Well, it has everything to do with what we're talking about, but not that specific story.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go back and talk about 4 U.S. soldiers during the Korean War that all went AWOL, defected, and crossed into North Korea.
Okay.
And what happened to them.
Interesting.
And their stories.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right.
Inspired by the soldier who's there right now doing who knows what.
Yeah, when you defect up there, what are you just curious or
I assume they probably give you, like a really nice car and a mansion.
and then what?
I'm just kidding. They probably beat you senseless, and I don't know what they do with you.
Yeah, why would I mean? Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about these guys
Okay, I'm so
and
curious.
figure why in the world they defected and went to North Korea.
Okay, so this is obviously frowned upon. Like defected is a bad thing.
Yes,
Okay,
very much so.
like you're going against
Yeah,
what you have been.
yeah. You're going
Like-
AWOL. You're running away from the army. You're leaving the army.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to leave, why would you go north to North Korea? Why don't you just leave in?
Well, there's nowhere else to go if you're in South Korea. But
I guess that's true.
yeah,
You could get to Japan, I think.
I mean, you could get there with a boat and a lot
Yeah.
of.
I mean,
but
I feel
you
like-
can't just like walk. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So the first one. So this is in the '60s during the Korean War. Let's see. We're going to start here in May of 1962. So all four of these soldiers left between 1962 and 1965. So that's kind of the time frame we are in.
But they didn't leave altogether?
No.
Oof,
They
I
didn't even know
also
each
feel
other.
like strength in numbers. Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, not at first. They get to know each other.
Okay, perfect.
So the first one, his name is Larry Abshire. Larry. He, you remember this is the early 60s, and he had a little bit of a, what's the word? He liked to smoke the ganja.
A weed problem.
He had a weed problem, which was not acceptable in the U.S. Army. And he had been caught multiple times with weed or smoking weed or high or whatever. And he was about to get court-martialed. And so he decided, well, rather than facing the discipline of the U.S. Army, we just go over to North Korea. See what happens over there.
I still feel like I'd rather face them, but maybe
So
not.
he
He did that.
crossed the demilitarized zone, and within a couple weeks, he was on the radio talking about how amazing North Korea was,
Wow.
how the citizens were working towards, better future and a awesome new world, and
Peace and harmony.
Pyongyang was the best city he'd ever seen, and yeah, it was just rainbows and unicorns and
That's awesome.
pixie dust, Mickey Mouse. It was all the things. I'm sure he had, a large gun pointed at his head the whole time.
I'm certain, but I wasn't there, so maybe not. Maybe it really is like that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's the best kept secret in the world.
Okay. So Larry.
Larry's the first one.
Okay.
So he heads over. That's him. Soldier number 2, James Dresnock. Do I have a date? August 15th, 1962. So just a couple months later. Dresnock was also facing a court-martial.
For the same reason?
No.
Oh.
He had forged his superior's signature to get some leave that he didn't actually have, so he could, go chill, hang out, do whatever you do. And then that was found out, and he got in trouble.
Yeah.
I think there's like a commonality here.
Yeah.
Gonna get court-martialed. Go to North Korea. And
Okay.
so he went across the border, surrendered to the Koreans, just 3 hours before his hearing was about to start.
Wow. He
Yeah.
was really desperate.
He was really feeling it, I'm sure. Yeah. So he's over there now. So we've got,
Did he make it to the radio too?
I never heard anything about him on the radio.
Okay.
So we got Abshire. We got Dresnock.
Mm-hmm.
They're over there. Third, Jerry Parrish, December 6th, 1963.
Okay.
So
So
a year and a bit later.
later. Okay.
We don't actually really know why he went.
Oh, he didn't have
He
like
didn't have anything going on.
a bad,
No.
Okay.
There were some rumors of maybe some bad things going on back at home that maybe he didn't want to,
deal with or something?
get sent back. And actually, in all fairness, those first two guys, their childhoods were pretty horrendous.
I'm sure. Yeah.
They were both in foster care from pretty nasty situations.
Yeah.
And so, not the greatest upbringings. But this guy, Jerry Parrish, was it Jerry? Yeah. For all intents and purposes, no giant red flags. Maybe he heard how great North Korea was from Abshir.
Yeah, maybe.
And was like, hey, sign me up.
Okay, perfect.
So anyways, he crossed. Lastly, we have Charles Jenkins, 1965. He was stationed in South Korea and got word that his unit was going to get sent to Vietnam. And he did not want to go to Vietnam. So he thought he had this great idea that if he went into North Korea, he could work his way to the Soviet Union and then be part of a prisoner exchange with the U.S. And I don't really know how this would be better for him because he would have been court-martialed for going AWOL and defecting, but it would have been a prisoner of war.
Or maybe he would have thought that they didn't realize that he went AWOL. I mean, is that possible?
Maybe he thought that he could pretend he was captured. I don't know.
Because maybe they wouldn't know that he didn't go to Vietnam. I have no idea what he was thinking, literally.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
story goes,
Okay.
and it's a pretty credible story. He drank 10 beers, tied a white flag onto his rifle, and headed over.
Well,
So-
I mean, you probably would have to drink 10 beers to want to walk through that demilitarized zone.
Impressive if you get through it.
I mean, didn't your dad live over there?
Mhm.
Yeah. Didn't
He
he
was
like
stationed there.
scout?
I don't know what he did over there.
Well, he
Played
scouted.
ping pong.
He did play ping pong, but he told me he scouted.
Oh,
like,
there you go. He's
I
never
think
told me
he
that.
scouted well, I ask a lot of questions.
It's true.
So I think he scouted out the demilitarized zone, if I remember correctly, like just making sure there's nothing fishy going on in that area.
While playing ping pong?
No, he would be actually flying a helicopter then.
Oh.
Yeah, and
in
then
the
play ping
helicopter.
pong. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they had ping pong tables in the helicopters.
No,
No.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, good to know.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Learn something new every day. So we got the four of them over there. So what was life like in paradisical North Korea?
Well, no one knows.
Well, we know now.
Do we know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to know more.
So it was pretty awesome for these guys. To begin with, they all got viciously tortured and beaten.
Okay. Well, obviously, first step to know that they got tortured and beaten means they got out, or at least one of them got out to tell the story. So they don't die.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm wrong. You're looking at me like, so that makes me feel a little bit better about hearing what's coming next. But
Yeah.
I mean, what
You're
did
going
they
to like where this story goes.
what did they think was going to happen?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, are they just going to say, "Oh, I went AWOL"? Like, I mean, they don't even speak probably Korean, so they're
Most
like,
definitely did not speak
"Oh,
Korean.
I went AWOL. Don't worry about me. I want to be here." And then they're going to be your buddy. I mean, like, what did they? Okay, so they
Well,
got
that's-
tortured and beaten.
They got tortured and beaten. And you're right. They didn't speak Korean. And they were forced to memorize massive amounts of Korean propaganda. And when they messed up, they got beaten more, which would have been quite the ordeal when you don't speak Korean.
They had to memorize Korean propaganda in Korean.
Mm-hmm.
Or can you memorize Korean propaganda in English? Like they're telling you what to say, but the same thing in English.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because literally those sounds that you have to make to even pretend to speak Korean,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would take forever. And if so you're just basically going to get beat over and over and over. That's perfect.
Yeah. Jenkins, the last of the guys that went over,
Mhm.
he had a U.S. military tattoo that was cut off without any anesthetic.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a good welcoming. Big party. Lots of fun.
That's so nasty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the initial welcoming, besides having to do the radio business, you know.
Yeah.
So they were having a blast. They were having a good time. Really grateful that they went. And then after a little while, they all got put into a house together.
Okay.
So the four of them bunked up in a one-room house.
I mean, wouldn't that make you feel better that you were all together?
I would think so.
I would totally think so. But anyway.
But life in that little one-room house, I think, would have given our first episode on Tomiyaki,
Mm-hmm.
a reality show from Japan, a run for its money on reality shows.
Oh.
Because you've got 4 testosterone-ridden soldiers who have been beaten tortured, living together. I think are probably all pretty disgruntled with their decision making.
Yeah, and probably mentally not necessarily that sound.
Yeah.
I mean, to decide to do that in the first place, it's like, you must have been in a really bad place.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So.
Well, and some of them, we know, come from pretty bad backgrounds. They're probably already dealing with a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of fist fighting, a lot of...
Did they feed them? Were they allowed to leave? Like, I mean, were they allowed to just be normal citizens, or are they like, they were put in a house, but like prisoners in a house kind of things? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question. What's the word I'm looking for? The impression that I got was no, they were not like in prison.
So they could leave.
I don't know how much freedom they had to move around, but it wasn't like, it was a dark, damp prison cell.
Right.
Like, yeah, they were fed. They were,
okay.
They weren't malnourished per se. Like they were living there. It sounds like fairly like normal people.
Okay. This seems like, what's the ulterior motive that
Well, what the North Koreans really wanted from them was they used them for a lot of propaganda.
So they just kept them there and then kind of used them when they wanted to.
Right.
Okay.
So over the next 4 or 5 years, they used them in lots of various propaganda fashion. So actually, to answer your question, they probably kept them in pretty good shape because they wanted them to look happy and healthy. And
right.
look how great North Korea is. So they would speak on the radio. They were on, you can look them up. It's actually pretty funny. There's magazine covers of them like boating with Korean women, like out like, oh, look how wonderful life is.
Oh gosh.
They were forced to teach English to Korean students
Well, that makes sense.
because they wanted them to grow up to be spies and they needed to be able to speak good English.
Mm-hmm. Well, everyone in,
When you taught Japanese in Japan.
no, I taught English in Japan.
When you taught English in Japan, was it so that they could grow up to be spies?
No.
No. Oh.
No, everyone just wants to be able to speak English to be able to be more of like a global country and communicate with a lot of the major, other countries in the world. So,
You don't think it was for espionage?
no. It's like piano lessons, like 30 minutes, but you have conversations in English and it's just like a piano lesson for all the students. But definitely, at least not my students. Mine were perfect. Yep. No espionage going on there.
Good. I don't know if I believe you.
It's true.
No, I'm just kidding. But these guys, it was a program. Like they wanted little spies.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then sometimes they would put them up on the border. Like they would take them to the DMZ and they get these giant speakers and they would just have them talk about how great it was and trying to convince more soldiers to defect into North Korea.
Are you kidding me?
No.
And people can hear?
Yeah. Like the other soldiers on the U.S. soldiers on the South Korean side.
And they're like, you are idiots. No, I'm just kidding. I actually probably thinking they're feeling very bad for them. But then again, it might look like everything was great.
They're doing great over there.
Yeah. They're like, they love it so much. They want us to come over there.
So they did that for a few years. At one point, they did try to escape.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why do they not try to get out?
Well, no one gets out of North Korea.
Okay. Then why don't you just rather die? I mean, like, if you're going to get beaten and like.
Well, I think at this point, they weren't being beaten.
Okay.
I think the beaten was like,
The
hey, we have
original.
these soldiers,
you're in submission.
prisoners of war.
We're in control.
Right.
Now we're going to be nice to you so we look good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they were fairly healthy at this point, just
Gotcha.
prisoners of a different kind.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. So anyways, that's what they were doing.
Well, you were saying at one point they were on magazines and stuff with.
So they did this for a few years, 4 or
Yeah.
5 years, all this different propaganda stuff. But there came a point. Oh, I said they tried to escape once.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So somehow, and I don't know how the story goes, they did get to the Soviet embassy in Pyongyang, and they tried getting the Soviets to take them in.
And that would be better?
Well, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
But they just turned around and handed them back to the North Koreans.
Okay.
And so,
This is perfect.
but in 1972,
Okay.
so we started between 62 and 65.
yeah.
So now 1972, North Korea granted them all citizenship.
Lucky.
I know.
Yeah, so nice.
So they got North Korean passports, but they're useless because you can't go anywhere. And they got all sorts of rights, which are useless because
nobody cares.
nobody cares.
Perfect.
But they were officially citizens. And they each got their own house. They got to live on their own.
Were they supposed to have Korean babies?
They were supposed to have Korean babies. Exactly. But there was just one eensy-weensy little problem.
Okay.
It was that... What do you think it was?
I mean, it was an arranged marriage. I have no idea.
And the problem was it was illegal for Korean women to have babies with American men.
It was illegal by North Korea's rules.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
So they couldn't have North Korean wives. So how do you think they got around this problem?
They brought in like other country
And
people?
how do you think they brought them in when you're a communist, closed society?
I really don't want to know.
They
Like
kidnapped them.
They captured them? Kidnapped?
Yes. So they kidnapped.
What's the logic behind this one?
Well, because they want them to produce children
But why? If it
to grow up to be spies.
Oh, I see what they're thinking. Got it. Yes. So where did they kidnap people from?
That's a great question. I'm so glad you went there. So Abshir, our first guy, his wife was from Thailand.
Nice Thailand.
Dresnok, our second guy, his wife was from Romania.
It's all over.
All over. Yeah. Kidnappers really can't be picky.
Or maybe they were strategic in all these different countries so that they have
Could be.
spies. From,
I don't think they like ran into the countries and like chloroformed these girls and dragged them back. I think it was a lot of trickery or like, I'm making this scenario up. This isn't real, but yeah, like, oh, come here and do a week-long photo, we'll to the mountains or whatever. And then they just never let them go.
right. Okay.
Parish's wife was from Lebanon,
Okay.
which probably means she can make baklava.
Ooh, I love baklava.
Yeah, so-
Mhm. Yummy.
And then Jenkins' wife was from Japan.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can't think of any way better to start off your arranged marriage than for it to be with a kidnapped woman who doesn't speak the same language as you
Yeah,
in a
that's
foreign country.
it's a
Very
really
romantic.
totally good way to start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was where they were
You
in
think they were
1972.
regretting their choices?
I don't know.
Or do you think they were like so at this point brainwashed? I mean, it's been a long time that they're
So
like,
you could be brainwashed. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of like a Stockholm syndrome-esque
Yeah.
thing going on. You also might have a scenario where you just realize, I'm never getting out of here, so I might as well make the best of it.
the situation.
I mean, I wasn't planning on having a kidnapped, arranged wife marriage.
But then again, I chose to walk over here. So.
But hey, it's not so bad.
Okay, perfect.
We
All
get
right.
along pretty well.
Okay.
I don't know, but that's where they were in 1972.
Okay. So they got arranged marriage.
And that is when, so from 1972 to 1978,
Okay. 6 more years.
they're having kids. They're
Having
having
families.
They're living the North Korean dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything changes.
Uh-oh.
They get called to the big leagues.
What does that even mean?
It's time to make some movies.
Make some movies.
They become North Korean movie stars.
Just because they're okay.
Because
Perfect.
when you need to make movies and you need bad guys that have to be American, you only have so many white people in your country.
Oh, that's awesome. So they were like the automatic enemy in
Yeah.
the movies.
Like all of our movies are like Russians are the bad guys. Like every James Bond movie,
I mean, I was just thinking of Captain America, but
or the Germans.
Oh, those were Germans. Or no, what's the one?
We have a few we like to pick on.
Stranger.
Those are Russians in Stranger Things.
Yeah, in Stranger Things, it's
Yeah.
Russians. I was like,
all the Bond movies.
I haven't watched that many Bond movies.
I mean,
They're all the
I
same.
feel like Russians are the go-to.
I
But
guess.
Germans are classic.
Yeah.
Our lifetime, a lot more of the Millies, the whole terrorist thing.
Yeah. I'm German. I'm part German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're in North Korea, it's the Americans.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. We
Yeah.
could be the enemy somewhere. It's perfect.
Yeah. So they got called up to be movie stars.
I'd love to see their acting skills.
You could probably find some of this stuff online.
Yeah, this is dreamy.
So they starred in a 20-hour movie.
That's
It's a long movie.
the longest
It was
movie
like a movie series
I've ever heard of.
called Unsung Heroes.
Okay.
And they all played different American villains.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Jenkins, our last guy who defected, definitely seemed to be the best actor because he got the major roles. He was kind of the not at all like Hitler, but like the mastermind of the evil American plans. But Dresnok, he became a fan favorite.
Yeah. He's number 2?
He was number 2. Yeah.
2.
Yeah. He became
Why?
just his character.
Okay.
So he played a guy named Arthur, and he became so popular that in public people would just call him Arthur, and he became like the celebrity.
Okay, this is hilarious.
Yeah. So I told you like where this went.
Okay.
Start by getting beaten up, end up being Tom Cruise, man.
With babies from different women that you can't speak to.
Well, I think you figure it out eventually.
Maybe. I mean, what's your common language? English?
No. Well, maybe some of
Korean?
them.
Because neither of you speak Korean.
No, I would assume you would go back and forth between English and whatever their native language was and kind of just...
Fake it till you make it?
I mean, what else are you doing all day
I don't know.
in a communist country?
I don't know. Are they making him work?
I mean, the movies.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
I think you
Perfect.
probably have plenty of time to
Work on
like
another
pick up a
language.
pencil. Be like, pencil. How do you say pencil in Japanese?
I don't remember. I'm so tired.
Yes, it is very late. And we're off on our hours, like
Yeah.
time zone change.
Time zone
On
change.
top of it's super late.
I can't think right now.
Okay, well, whatever it is. you
Yeah.
know,
I have to think
you
about
could
it.
figure it out
It's
eventually.
bugging
You know,
me.
you
I
could
keep- water
not
keeps
you
coming
could
to me.
figure it out, but you know, you could hold up the pencil and say pencil, and she could say whatever, and you could go back and forth.
I guess you
and
could figure it out, but it would be really
over time,
hard.
you'd figure out some way to communicate.
Yeah.
Sign language.
That's true.
But so anyways, they became kind of movie stars. Over the next couple of years, they made more movies, became even more popular. And this is kind of their lives through the 80s.
Right.
Living in North Korea, just making movies.
And pizza.
There you go.
That's how you say pencil.
Thank you.
And pizza.
I mean, our daughter wants to be an actor. Maybe she should go to North Korea. There's probably lots of roles waiting for her.
Yeah. You're such a great father.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1983, Abshir, our very first buddy who went over there, had a heart attack in his house.
Uh-oh.
And his wife ran over to get Jenkins because they were neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 11 years later since they brought over their wives. But before Jenkins could get there, he died. So we do know that within 11 years they were still married. Now I don't know what choice they had about being married or not,
Right.
but they were still married. And so at just 40 years old, Abshir died.
That's sad. Pretty
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. So he was the first to go. In 1998, Parrish, our third one to defect, died of kidney failure. But I find this one interesting. So in North Korea in the mid 90s was a super infamous famine called, oh shoot, what was it called? Anyways, it has a name. If you believe that, it does. But about 2 million North Koreans died of starvation in this time. I think it was 94 to 98.
That's sad.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers range from like 240,000 to 6 million, but I see a lot of places that kind of hover around 2 million. They only have a population of about 25 million people. So, big population or percentage of the population starved to death in the 90s. And I just find it fascinating that he died of kidney disease during this massive famine. Like if that was part of
correlated.
it. Right.
Yeah. Related.
So anyways, he passed away in 2016. So not too long ago. Dresnik, Arthur, our famous guy, he also passed away. Did he pass away? I don't know. Sorry, I just lost my spot on my thing. I had to reopen it. Oh, yes, he died of a stroke in 2016. So he had lived in North Korea for 45 years. And he claimed that there was no amount of money that would have ever gotten him to go back to the States.
Really?
Yeah. He claimed he thoroughly enjoyed his life.
I just still don't understand how they got this information from him.
You're going to find out in just a second.
Oh, okay.
Because the only one we have left now is Jenkins.
And he was the
last one to go.
The last one
married to the Japanese woman.
Okay.
The mastermind.
Oh, yeah. In the movies. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in 2002, okay, he died in 2016. His statement of never wanting to leave was prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2002, North Korea and Japan signed an accord to try to increase the relationship between the two countries. Part of that was the North Koreans returned 5 kidnapped people, one of which
was his wife.
Charles Jenkins' wife. Now, she was only allowed to go home for 10 days, but you're never going to believe this. She never went back to North Korea.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Just totally blew it off.
When it's so good?
Yeah.
And her husband's a movie star?
Yeah.
What?
They have 2 daughters together who were adults, like in their 20s by now.
And it's
Maybe
weird
even
to
older than
me that the Korean people that just said you could go for 10 days thought that she would come back. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, why would they think that she would come back? Because she had a family?
Well, because it's awesome there.
Oh, right. We are all rushing to be there.
I did watch a YouTube thing, not this week, it was like 6 months ago, about a guy who went over to North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fascinating. He travels all over the world, just like a docuseries on different places. And he spent a couple nights in Pyongyang. And obviously it's very, very strict on what he can film and what he can't film. And he has like a tour guide with him all the time. But the places that they took him are very, very nice. But the problem is there's very few places, that are like that.
All right.
But the food looked excellent.
Korean food's yummy.
Yeah. I don't know. I assume North Korean food's similar to South Korean food.
Well, I guess that's true.
But I don't really know.
Probably don't know if I know.
But it was interesting to see, on the streets in North Korea a little bit, even though it's super edited as far as what,
right.
you're allowed to show and not. Anyways.
So this information comes from his Japanese wife?
Close.
So she literally abandons him there with their 2 kids.
Correct.
Okay.
In 2002.
Maybe he told her not to come back.
I would assume that, yes. He probably said, this is your shot. Get out of here. And I'm sure it was very hard for her to leave her children. But in 2004, Jenkins and their 2 daughters were allowed to visit her in Indonesia.
So they knew she never came back. Mm-hmm. They didn't get that mad, even though she was supposed to.
Correct.
And then this accord, they're obviously really trying to make good on, right? And then, why Indonesia? Does this just seem so bizarre to me?
That's the happy middle ground.
Yeah, okay. Happy middle ground.
So before they even get there, Japan's already given the 2 girls and Jenkins residency.
No, that's cool.
So I think really North Korea probably knew both times they're not coming back, but we can't make it look like we're just letting them go. That would be my guess.
So they actually are kind of nice?
Well, maybe they'd outuse their purpose for him. I don't know.
He was too old at this point?
Yeah.
Gotcha. He wasn't a movie
sexy anymore,
wasn't as sexy.
He lost his appeal.
Movie star.
Got to find new, younger AWOL. Maybe that's what this guy's doing. Maybe he's going to be in a movie, the one who just AWOL'd.
Yeah. Or maybe he was just feeling the need to be famous again.
I don't know.
Okay.
So, they go to Indonesia. Shocking again. Never goes back. Hops on a plane. Goes to Japan. When he gets to Japan, Jenkins weighs a whopping 100 pounds. But he's missing an appendix and a testicle. So that's some of that weight, you know?
Does that have something to do with living in North Korea?
I don't know, but I don't want to know how those surgeries went.
Yeah.
Or why. I mean, appendicitis makes sense.
I'm hoping he's missing them from before he went to Japan, or I mean to North Korea.
Or I'm hoping he's missing them when he was like older and had a problem, not like from the first year he was there.
Ooh, sounds so terrible. I just don't want to know. But he's missing an appendix and a testicle.
But he had 2 girls.
Yeah. So
the one's got enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after a few months in Japan, he did go back to a U.S. military base in Japan, and he turned himself in for going AWOL.
Okay.
X many years before.
Do you think the government even cares at this point?
They court-martialed him.
Oh, they did.
And they sentenced him to prison.
Oh, they did.
For 60 days.
Oh. Well.
But he got out, I think, after 25 for good behavior. Good.
They're like, you've served enough of a sentence after being...
Well, really what they did is, I mean, they hounded him for copious amounts of information.
Of course.
Everything
of course.
that you possibly know about North Korea.
Right.
You know?
But don't you think in North Korea's smart tactics that they would know that if they ever let him go, he's going to tell them all the things?
The common sense answer is obviously.
So, but it seems like they would care so much about that they wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah. North Korea. Yeah. I don't know. I was actually just listening to a thing unrelated to this, like not for this podcast. But I was listening to this really fascinating, guy talking on North Korea's leadership, and I'm super dumbing this down, and I don't even know how accurate it is, but it made sense to me. So you will only have 3 generations of communist leadership in North Korea. So you have, I'm going to get this wrong.
It's okay.
Kim Jong-un, I believe, is the current leader. Or maybe it's Kim Jong-il and his dad's Kim Jong-un, whatever.
Just
the
1,
current
2, and
leader's
3.
grandfather.
Sure.
Their generation was super radical. Then you have his son's generation. You have the current generation, who's very young. Essentially, the current generation, who's in charge, killed off all of his father's generation.
The radicals. Or the mediums.
The mediums.
Okay.
At least in the middle, time-wise. And then just speaks a big rhetoric game to pacify the olders and just kind of letting them die off on their own because they're old. The problem being the current leadership has killed off all mentorship. So they really don't know what they're doing. You know, they run the country, they've got nukes, they talk a big game, but they really don't have any idea.
Interesting.
You know, strategically what's happening. I don't know if that's an accurate assessment.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, how long ago was he let go?
2004.
So was it the same generation under leadership, or would it have been more the middle people?
I'm not sure when
anyway
the transition happened.
It just seems weird to me for being, like, they're so tight-lipped on all the things that happen. You know, that's part of, generally speaking, communism, right? Not really letting people know a lot of what's happening.
It's not the greatest stuff, you know.
Right. Well, for sure. But also making it look good, you know, the best that they can. But I just think it's strange that they would let him meet in Indonesia knowing probably that we're never going to get this guy back, but he's capable enough to communicate everything that happened over the last, you know.
That's a good point.
It just seems like I'm missing something, but that's maybe all we know, right?
Right.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a spy.
Maybe. Or maybe they thought he'd be a spy after all this time.
I have no idea.
Like, forget you guys.
So they gave him 60 days. He got off in 25 for a good behavior. This is hilarious. They got all the information that they probably ever needed or ever wanted. And then what?
So, happy story. Him and his wife really had fallen in love over these years.
Oh,
so
well, that's good.
His mom was still alive in her 90s.
Oh, are you serious?
So he did get to go back to North Carolina or wherever he was from and see his mom. But ultimately decided to go back to Japan and live with his wife and his daughters
Is he still alive?
He's not alive. He died in 2017.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he went back.
He stayed in Japan.
Him and his wife stayed together.
Wow.
I mean, they were really cute. You can look up like pictures of them or videos when they first got back together, like when he was in Indonesia.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's really, really sweet. I mean, I think you would imagine you would grow to love somebody as long as they're kind.
Yeah. I mean, if you're I don't want to get philosophical here, but yeah, if you're a good person and they're a good person, I assume you get through most of especially when you're bonding together in such a crappy situation.
Even though you're forced to do it, I think, well, that's a happy ending.
Yeah.
I mean, for him.
Right. So he wrote a book about all this.
I mean, good for him.
Which is why we know so much of it.
I don't know how he would not take advantage of that opportunity because this is just a wild story.
But yeah, I mean, he lived a ripe old age of old. I don't know how old he was, but I mean,
Right. It's just so strange. I mean, all of it, the motives, why you would do it in the first place, but then also what is the leadership of Korea thinking with, just the whole process. But anyway, well, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I wouldn't make a decision that radical on a whim, but it's just interesting. Like I love this thought of you never know what one thing in your life is going to completely alter your life.
I mean, I feel like you would know that decision is going to alter your life, but
probably not in that way, right?
Yeah, I guess not.
Like I love listening to people's stories, mostly success stories, but when they go back to like, had I not done this thing, my life never would have gone this direction.
That's true.
And obviously, you're right. This is one that is, if you're going to go into the enemy's territory of a communist country, you probably can expect your life's going to change.
Like drastically. At least I would hope you would
But
know.
you probably aren't thinking, okay, I don't want to get court-martialed today. I bet if I cross over there, I'm going to spend the next 45 years and become a movie star.
And marry a Japanese woman.
And
have Japanese children. Yeah. Probably not.
That's probably not the scenario you see.
That's true. Yeah, it's very interesting. So
life's got lots of twists and turns.
Yes, it does. The joy in the journey. As much joy as you can find, no matter what situation you're in.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never be a movie star.
You never know, honey.
I guess that's true.
I mean, you never know. You as Mr. Bucket. I mean, they're coming for you.
I was shocked. There were no talent agents ever in the crowd at our performances.
They were. They're coming. They're coming. They're still coming.
They were. They just didn't care.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So, all right, everyone. It is super late here. We definitely need to get going. Please share the podcast. It's been really fun. I know I've mentioned this before. Going and looking at the stats of where people listen. This last week, we now have reached almost every continent except for South America and Africa. We've had listeners in Europe, in Asia, in Australia, in North America, in the Philippines, which technically falls into one of those other continents, but separate. So it's really fun just to see. I don't know how in the world anybody knows or hears about it, but we really appreciate people spreading the word, sharing it, telling their friends. Again, if you can, please leave a review. Unless you're going to leave a bad review, then don't do that. You can totally forget. But if you're going to leave a good review, we'd really appreciate it. So anyways, thanks a lot for listening, and we will be back again next week.
Until next week.
Be strange, man.